17 years, 17 birthdays, 17 candles blown out under the same roof, 17 years of love, discipline, and what I thought was family. Until one day, everything changed. This is the true story of how I found out the people who raised me weren't who they said they were. My name? Emily Turner. Or at least, that's who I thought I was. I grew up in Cedar Falls, Oregon. Small town, quiet streets. The kind of place where everyone waves and nothing bad ever happens, unless it happens to you. My parents, Jonathan and Linda Turner, were respected, hardworking, always there. Dad was a Marine turned foreman. Mom, a kindergarten teacher who knew every kid by name. It felt safe, but it never felt quite like mine. Then in biology class, everything unraveled. We had to trace our ancestry with a DNA kit. Easy, right? Everyone laughed and joked as they waited for their results. When mine came in, the room got quiet. No matches, not even distant. The Turners, my family, weren't my blood. I thought it was a glitch. I tried to laugh it off. But that night, over dinner, I asked about it. Mom dropped her fork. Dad stood up and walked away. Suddenly, everything felt off. I started digging. My birth certificate looked wrong. Smudged signature, blurred doctor's name, medical record sealed. Questions everywhere, but no answers. Then came the voicemail. You don't know who you are, Emily. They're not who they say they are. Look up July 22nd, 2006. Ashland County. Missing persons. That's where it starts. I searched the date. Found a missing baby, Abigail Sloan. Gone from a gas station parking lot at 8 months old. Blonde curls. Big eyes. A tiny scar above the eyebrow. I had that scar too. I took my story to the police. Detective Marla Reyes said my resemblance to Abigail gave her chills. She ran my DNA. 99.98% match. I wasn't Emily Turner, I was Abigail Sloan. 17 years missing. 17 years of lies. But how did I end up with the Turners? They'd never been suspected, no record, no motive. But then police found a grainy security video. Someone in a hoodie placing a baby in a sedan. The car belonged to Linda Turner's late sister. A gas station attendant remembered a nervous woman by the pumps. No gas, just pacing, then she vanished, and so did the baby. Police questioned my parents. Jonathan got a lawyer, stayed silent. Linda broke. She told police I didn't kidnap her, she was left alone. We tried to call it in, but Jonathan said no. He said they'd take her away. We gave her a life. But there's no record they ever tried to report me missing. After that, everything changed. I met my biological mother, Rachel Sloan, for the first time. 17 years apart, trying to piece together a bond we never had a chance to build. Jonathan and Linda were charged with custodial interference and felony abduction. Then came another twist. DNA proved Jonathan was my biological father. Turns out, Rachel Sloan had filed a paternity suit against him in 2005. She said she never knew his full name. Pictures surfaced, work event, brief relationship, a child. So, did Jonathan find Rachel? Did he orchestrate my disappearance, or was it fate? He refuses to talk. Now I live in two worlds, raised by people who loved me but lied to me. The daughter of a woman who mourned me and a man I barely recognize. I changed my name back to Abigail, but I still answer to Emily. The case is still open. No one knows who made that call. No one knows exactly what happened on July 22nd, 2006. And maybe no one ever will. Subscribe to Vanished Whispers-TrueCrime, because the truth is often stranger than fiction. The disappearance of Abigail Sloan, known for 17 years as Emily Turner, left a ripple of unanswered questions throughout Cedar Falls and beyond. But what did people really see that day? What did they remember? As the investigation reopened, old memories resurfaced, each one casting new shadows on the truth. First, the gas station attendant. He'd worked the early shift for years, but July 22nd, 2006, never left him. I remember her, little baby, big blue eyes. A woman came in, kept looking over her shoulder. She paid for a pack of gum but never bought gas. I thought maybe she was waiting for someone. She left, but she looked scared, like she was running from something. That baby never cried, just stared up at her with those big eyes. Then, the neighbor. She lived next door to the Turners for over a decade, but now wonders what she missed. The Turners were always private. Linda was kind, but sometimes I'd see her in the yard at night, just standing there. After Emily, Abigail, came to live with them, Linda changed. She stopped coming to book club. Once I heard arguing, Jonathan's voice angry. I asked if everything was all right. Linda just smiled, but her eyes were red. Finally, a childhood friend. She grew up with Emily, never suspecting the secret between them. Emily was my best friend. She always seemed happy, but sometimes she'd ask weird questions about family, about where babies come from. At sleepovers, she'd wake up crying from nightmares. She'd say, "I don't fit, I don't know why. I thought it was just growing up." Now I wonder if she always knew deep down that something was wrong. Each story paints a different picture: fear, guilt, secrets. The truth about Abigail's disappearance and her life as Emily remains tangled in memories and silence. As these voices echo through the years, one thing becomes clear: in Cedar Falls, not everything was as it seemed. And the closer you look, the more the truth slips through your fingers. Stay tuned, because the past isn't done speaking yet. Dimly lit police interview rooms. Close-up of a detective's hand pressing record on a tape player. Stark evidence photos flicker on screen. A faded pacifier, a worn baby blanket, a family photo with one face circled. Detective, voice low, measured. "Mr. Turner, what do you remember about the morning of July 22nd? Jonathan Turner, staring at his hands. "I was at work. Left before sunrise. Linda would know more. She handled mornings." Detective, pressing. "Your neighbor heard raised voices the night before. Can you explain?" Jonathan, jaw tightening. "It was nothing, just stress. Kids, bills, normal stuff." Jonathan's hands clenching, a close-up of his wedding band. Detective, to Linda Turner. "Linda, why did you stop attending book club after Emily came to live with you?" Linda Turner, softly, eyes downcast. "Things got busy. Emily needed me. I wasn't myself." Detective, "Neighbors say you seemed anxious, that you stood outside at night alone." Linda, voice trembling. I had trouble sleeping, that's all." Linda twisting a tissue, knuckles white. Cut to a photo of Emily as a toddler. Detective, to Rachel Sloan, Abigail's biological mother. "Rachel, when did you last see Abigail?" Rachel Sloan, voice cracking. 17 years ago. I've told you, she was taken. They said she'd be safe with family. I never agreed to this." Detective, leaning forward. "But you signed the papers." Rachel, angry. "I was pressured. They said it was best for her. I was just a kid myself." Rachel's tears, her hand slamming the table. A flash of the adoption certificate. Detective, voiceover. "Jonathan, did you know about Abigail's real identity?" Jonathan, defensive. "We raised her as our own. That's all I'll say." Detective, "Linda, did you ever tell Emily the truth?" Linda, breaking down. "No, I wanted to. I couldn't. I was afraid of losing her." Silence. The detective's pen tapping, photos scattered across the table. Each interview peels back another layer of secrets, contradictions, evasions, and raw emotion. The Turners cling to their stories, but their words don't always match. Rachel's pain is palpable, but her memory falters under pressure. The truth, it seems, is still out of reach. As the tape reels spin and the evidence piles up, the mystery deepens. In Cedar Falls, every answer leads to more questions, and the shadows only grow longer. Stay with us. The investigation is far from over. A week after the interviews, the Cedar Falls investigation takes a chilling turn. In a cardboard box tucked away in the attic, detectives discover a yellowed envelope addressed in shaky handwriting. "For Emily, when the time is right." The camera lingers on gloved hands sliding the letter from its envelope. Inside, a single sentence. "The truth is buried, but not forgotten, forgive me." Cut to a dusty photo album, its pages stuck together by time. An officer peels one apart, revealing a photograph never seen before. Emily as a toddler, standing between Jonathan and Linda Turner. But in the background, half shrouded in shadow, a woman who looks strikingly like Rachel Sloan watches from a distance. Her face is circled in red ink. Next, a detective presses play on an old answering machine. Static crackles, then a distorted voice. "You don't know what you've done. She was never yours to keep. Stop digging, or you'll regret it." The message ends abruptly, a dial tone echoing in the silence. Slow, close-up shots show the evidence spread across a table under harsh fluorescent light. The letter, the photo, the tape recorder. Investigators exchange uneasy glances as each item raises new, unsettling questions. Who wrote the letter? How did Rachel appear in that photo? And who left the threatening voicemail? As the camera pulls back, the weight of the discovery settles over the room. The lines between victim and perpetrator blur. The past grows darker, more tangled. What began as a search for answers has unleashed something far more disturbing. In Cedar Falls, the truth is no longer just hidden. It's dangerous. Stay with us. The shadows are closing in, and the most disturbing secrets are still to come. As dawn breaks over Cedar Falls, the investigation grinds on, no closer to closure. Detectives gather in the cold glow of the precinct, their faces weary, eyes darting between the evidence that refuses to fit together. The letter's handwriting matches neither Jonathan nor Linda. The photo lab confirms the image of Rachel Sloane was never doctored, and the threatening voicemail traced to a burner phone, abandoned in a trash bin outside the old Sloane residence. A new list of suspects emerges, names whispered in hallways, faces blurred behind frosted glass. Each file folder on the table tells a different story, each alibi full of cracks. Motives multiply, but answers remain scarce. The truth, it seems, is not just buried, it's protected by those who would do anything to keep it hidden. Cut to a montage unsolved case files stacked high, edges fraying. A wall clock in the evidence room, its second hand ticking relentlessly, echoing through the silence. A dark, empty street outside Emily Turner's childhood home, a lone streetlight flickering as shadows stretch across the pavement. The camera lingers on the final image, the yellowed envelope, now sealed in a plastic bag, resting atop the pile of unanswered questions. In Cedar Falls, resolution feels as distant as ever, because in the end some stories refuse to be finished. Some secrets, once unearthed, only lead to deeper mysteries. And as the shadows lengthen, one thing is certain. The Emily Turner case remains open, and the truth may never be fully known. Fade to black. Years after the case seemed destined to remain unsolved, a single phone call jolts the Cedar Falls precinct back to life. The caller, Margaret Ellis, a former neighbor whose name never appeared in the original files, requests to speak, her voice trembling with secrets long kept. Detectives gather in the interview room, recorders rolling as Margaret finally breaks her silence. Detective, Miss Ellis, can you describe what you saw on the night of June 14, 2007? Margaret Ellis. I saw someone leaving Emily's house, not Jonathan, not Linda, someone else, a man in a dark jacket wearing gloves. He dropped something shiny by the mailbox. I was afraid to come forward. I thought no one would believe me. Detective, why come forward now? Margaret Ellis, voice shaking. I can't carry it anymore. I kept the object he dropped, a silver locket. It wasn't Emily's. It had the initials RS engraved inside. Detective, RS, Rachel Sloane? Margaret Ellis. Yes, I recognized it from church. Rachel always wore it, but after that night I never saw her with it again. Detectives exchange glances. Margaret's testimony contradicts years of assumptions. The locket, entered into evidence, is sent for forensic testing. Fingerprints reveal a partial match not to Rachel but to her estranged brother Mark Sloane, a name never before linked to the case. The impact is immediate. Jonathan Turner's alibi, once ironclad, is questioned anew. Linda Turner is seen leaving the precinct in tears. Rachel Sloane, confronted with the locket, collapses under the weight of old memories, revealing a rift in her family that investigators never suspected. Suddenly the case pivots. The focus shifts from Emily's immediate circle to the Sloane family, unearthing motives and secrets buried for decades. Margaret Ellis's testimony shatters the narrative, forcing detectives and the community to confront the possibility that the truth was always just out of sight, waiting for the courage to be spoken. As the scene fades, the camera lingers on the silver locket, now at the center of the investigation. A new clue, a new hope, and a new chapter in the story that refuses to end. As investigators follow the trail of the silver locket, a routine search of the Sloane family home leads to an astonishing discovery. Tucked away in the dust-laden attic, inside a battered shoebox, detectives find a leather-bound diary, its pages yellowed, its lock broken. The initials RS are etched faintly on the cover. Inside, the diary reveals far more than anyone could have imagined. Detective reading, June 10, 2007. He came again last night. Mark says it's not my fault, but I know I'm the reason for his anger. I see it in his eyes, the same look he gave Emily. Flipping through the pages, detectives find photographs, grainy, taken from a distance but unmistakable. Emily Turner, alone in her garden. Emily arguing with Mark Sloane outside the church, and then coded messages, strings of letters and numbers, later decoded to reveal times and dates, each aligning with critical moments in the investigation. Diary excerpt, June 14th. The silver locket is gone. Mark's gloves are missing. He's pacing, muttering about secrets that must stay buried. I'm scared. I want to tell someone, but I can't breathe. If they knew what I've done. A final entry scrawled in trembling handwriting. I saw what happened. I tried to stop it. I'm so sorry, Emily. Forgive me. Detectives gather around the evidence table, piecing together the timeline. The diary not only places Mark Sloane at the scene, it suggests Rachel was a witness, perhaps even complicit, in covering up the truth. Forensic experts match Rachel's fingerprints to the diary and the photographs. The coded messages, decrypted, reveal secret meetings between Mark and Emily, meetings Rachel had documented but never disclosed. As the weight of these revelations settles in, the case takes a dramatic turn. The community's perception of the Sloanes and of Emily Turner herself fractures. Motives once hidden in shadows are dragged into the light, exposing a web of jealousy, betrayal, and fear that had bound the families together for years. The camera lingers on the open diary, its pages fluttering in the breeze, each word a confession, each photograph a fragment of a story that was never meant to be told. The investigation, once cold, is now blazing with new urgency. And as the detectives look at one another, they know the final truth may be even darker than they ever imagined. The courthouse is silent, charged with anticipation. Every seat in the gallery is filled, neighbors, friends, journalists, all drawn by the promise of long-awaited answers. The judge's gavel echoes, signaling the beginning of a day that will decide the fate of everyone entangled in the Emily Turner case. The prosecution begins, presenting the diary as evidence. The camera pans over the jury's faces as the prosecutor reads Rachel Sloane's trembling words aloud. The defense objects, but the judge overrules. Every secret, every confession, is now public record. Rachel Sloane takes the stand. Her hands shake as she clutches a tissue. The prosecutor's questions are relentless. Rachel, did you witness what happened to Emily Turner on June 14, 2007? Yes, I saw it. Mark was angry, he was shouting. Emily tried to leave, but he grabbed her. I froze. I should have called for help, but I was scared. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Mark Sloane, face pale, stares at the floor. His attorney rushes to cross-examine. Rachel, you documented secret meetings in your diary. Why didn't you come forward sooner? Because I loved him. Because I thought if I kept his secret it would all go away. But it didn't. It only got worse. Mark is called to the stand. He denies everything at first, but the prosecutor presents the coded messages and fingerprints. Cornered, Mark's composure cracks. She threatened to ruin me, I just wanted to talk, but things got out of control, I never meant— He breaks down, sobbing. The gallery is silent but for the sound of his confession. The final piece, a police transcript, appears on the screen. Detective's voice, calm but unyielding, reads the timeline reconstructed from Rachel's diary, the photographs, and Mark's admission. The true sequence of events is revealed. The argument, the struggle, the fatal accident, and the hurried cover-up. As the truth unfolds, Emily's family weeps. The judge delivers the verdict, guilty. Mark is led away in handcuffs. Rachel collapses into tears, finally free from the burden she carried for 17 years. The camera lingers on the empty witness stand, the fluttering pages of the diary now closed. Outside the courthouse, the community gathers, the weight of secrets finally lifted. The case of Emily Turner is closed, but the echoes of her story will remain, reminding all that the truth, no matter how deeply buried, will always find its way to the light. The courthouse lights have barely dimmed when a new shadow falls across the Emily Turner case. In a small, windowless interview room, Detective Harris sits across from a nervous figure, Anna Morales, a local nurse, her hands twisting in her lap. The camera never shows her face, only the trembling silhouette and the flutter of her breath caught on the microphone. Detective Harris leans in, voice gentle but urgent. Anna, you said you remembered something from July 22, 2006, the night before everything changed. Why come forward now? Anna hesitates, her voice barely a whisper. I couldn't sleep anymore. I kept seeing it. I was driving home late, past the Turner's house. I saw Emily outside arguing with someone. It wasn't Mark. It was a woman. Blonde hair, tall. They were shouting. I thought it was just a neighbor, but then Emily ran inside and the other woman followed. I heard glass break. The detective's pen pauses mid-scribble. Can you describe her? Are you sure it wasn't Rachel Sloane? Anna shakes her head, her voice trembling. No, Rachel's shorter. This woman was different. I remember her car. It was a red sedan, not anyone from the neighborhood. I should have said something sooner, but I was afraid. What if I was wrong? What if it made things worse? A heavy silence fills the room. The camera lingers on Anna's clenched fists, the clock's relentless ticking. Detective Harris's voice is cautious. Anna, your testimony could change everything we thought we knew about that night. Are you willing to testify? Anna's eyes well with tears. If it means Emily gets the truth, yes, even if they don't believe me. As the interview ends, the possibility of a new suspect hangs in the air, thick with doubt and dread. The narrative shifts. Was the case truly closed, or is there still a secret waiting to be uncovered? Fade out on Anna's silhouette, the truth flickering just out of reach. A cracked mirror reflects two faces, one belonging to Emily Turner, the other to Abigail Lane. In the quiet aftermath of courtroom revelations and late-night testimonies, Emily sits alone in her childhood bedroom, the walls papered with memories that no longer feel like her own. As rain taps against the window, her internal monologue drifts, fractured and uncertain. Who am I now? Emily Turner, the daughter, the sister, the vanished girl, or Abigail Lane, the stranger who wore my name for 17 years. Every time I look at old photographs, I see someone I almost remember but can never truly become again. Flashbacks flicker, a little girl's laughter in a sunlit backyard, a mother's arms, warm and safe. Then, shouting shattered glass, a red car speeding away, the faces of two mothers, one weeping with hope, the other with betrayal. The camera lingers on Emily's trembling hands, tracing the lines of her diary, the ink smudged by tears. Her adoptive parents' voices echo from downstairs, muffled by guilt and confusion. In another home, her birth family sits at the dinner table, a chair forever empty, a place set for the daughter they lost and found, but never truly got back. Can you belong to two families when your heart is split in half? Sometimes I wake up as Abigail, sometimes as Emily, but most nights, I'm someone else. Someone lost in the dark between them. Visuals blur, faces morph, rooms dissolve, the sound of glass breaking repeats. The camera tilts up to a shadow in the hallway, a silhouette just out of focus. The truth may have surfaced, but the wounds remain, raw, unhealed. For Emily, the past is never gone. It lingers, a question mark at the end of every day. And as the lights flicker and the rain falls, one thing becomes clear. Some stories never find their ending. Some cases are never truly closed. Fade out on the mirror, Emily's reflection dissolving into darkness. The screen fades in from darkness. Rain still patters outside, but now the camera pans across the empty, silent house. In the attic, dust motes swirl through a shaft of moonlight. A floorboard creaks, slow, deliberate. Gloved hands pry it loose, revealing a time-stained envelope hidden deep beneath the wood. The camera lingers on the trembling hands as they draw out the letter. Its paper is brittle, the ink faded, but the name on the front is unmistakable. To the real Emily Turner. The envelope is unopened, sealed with a wax stamp bearing a symbol no one has seen before. A voiceover, hushed and urgent, reads aloud the first lines. If you are reading this, then everything you've been told is a lie. There are things you do not remember, things they never wanted you to know. The visuals shift, flashes of old photographs, blurred faces, a shadowy figure lurking at the edge of each frame. A reel-to-reel tape recorder clicks on, its red light blinking in the dark. Static crackles, then a distorted voice whispers, "She was never meant to be found." The investigators gather in a dimly lit room, the letter and tape spread before them. Their faces are tense, uncertain. Was Emily Turner truly the victim, or was she a pawn in a far larger game? The evidence they have built their case on now lies in pieces, every truth questioned, every answer unraveling. The final shot. The camera closes in on the letter, its wax seal unbroken, as the rain intensifies outside. The screen cuts to black with one lingering question. What if the real story is only just beginning? Fade out. The screen brightens with the first rays of morning, golden light spilling into the once shadowed house. The rain has stopped, windows open, letting in fresh air and the distant sound of birdsong. The camera glides through the home, now filled with quiet warmth, as the investigators Emily, now revealed as Abigail Sloan, and her two families gather together. On the table lies the letter, its wax seal finally broken. In a soft, trembling voice, Abigail reads aloud, "My dearest, if you are reading this, you have endured more than anyone should. The secrets kept from you were meant to protect, not punish. You are the bridge between two worlds, loved by both, never truly lost." The letter, written by her birth mother, confesses the tangled choices made out of desperation and fear. It reveals how Abigail was taken, not out of malice but misguided love, and how her adoptive family, unaware of the truth, raised her with genuine care. The mystery of the shadowy figure is resolved, a relative who tried for years to reunite the families, but was silenced by guilt and shame. As Abigail finishes reading, tears glisten in the eyes of those around her. The two families embrace, finding forgiveness in shared grief and love. The investigators, once hardened by suspicion, offer gentle words of apology and support. We see scenes of healing. Abigail, walking through the town, greeted with kindness by neighbors, her birth mother and adoptive mother sitting together, hands entwined, sharing stories. The community gathering in the church hall, where old wounds are acknowledged and hope is rekindled. In a final sunlit montage, Abigail stands on a hill overlooking the town. Her voice, steady and serene, closes the story. "I am not just Emily Turner, I am Abigail Sloan, I am both, and I am finally home." The screen fades to white as gentle music swells. A message appears. In the end, truth is not just what we find but what we choose to forgive. And in forgiveness we find ourselves. Fade out.